God played a trick on you. Hi again, everyone. Scott Player Pop Cult fan here, and in this video, I just saw Exorcist Believer. I just watched it with my family, actually, and also earlier today, I rewatched the original film before watching this new one. So I'm ready to finally do this a review and give my thoughts on it. And even though I heard, like, going into this that the movie had bad reviews, I did not think this movie was bad at all. I actually thought it was pretty good, and I liked it quite a bit. You know, I think this movie, I don't think it's fair to compare it to the original film, because the original film is such a classic. It always will be. Nothing will change that. And I think what this movie does do successfully is tell its own story, and it doesn't rely too much on, like, nostalgia. But once you get it, like, once you get to the part of the film where Chris MacNeil returns, she has really good moments. You know, I thought Ellen Burstyn had a triumphant return as her character in the latter half of the film. And there was this one really great scene with her character that's easily one of the highlights of the film. And also, I think across the board, all the actors did really good jobs in their performances, and especially the girls being possessed. Their performances there were also, you know, really good. If you ask me, you know, I've seen a lot of demonic possessed acting before in other movies, like, especially, like, most recently, like, say, the mom in Evil Dead Rise. That's another really good example of an actress that did a really good job with the physicality of being possessed, and also just the way that the possessed comes off with the voice and the maniacal kind of laugh and the cursing that you can expect from possessed people in films like this. I thought the performances there from the little girls were really good, because I heard behind the scenes that Linda Blair, who played Regan in the original film, helped mentor the two girls while they were playing these possessed girls in the film. And I thought that was really cool, hearing about that behind the scenes. And I think that with what they were able to do with the new characters in this film, I thought was really interesting. You follow these two different families, and similar to what they did in the original film, they sort of had the main lead protagonists of the film, even though it sort of focused more on the Victor character, you know, the dad of Angela. They focused more on his character than they did on the other family. But still, though, you know, they're separated for a while at first, you know, living their lives. And then, you know, once the girls get possessed and it gets worse, that's when the two families start teaming up. So in that way, this movie sort of mirrors the original film, sort of, because in the original film, you have Father Karras, who he's living his life, you know, he's dealing with his mom, and then you have Chris MacNeil. She was living her life with her daughter as an actress too, by the way, because her character is an actress in the original film. And I think that's sort of what they were doing with this movie too, as well, as sort of mirroring the original. And I thought that was pretty cool. And I think the score here, like, there's one particular track in this movie that definitely was a remix, like a modern remix of the iconic Tubular Bells theme, which was really interesting to hear and really cool. And I also, with what they did with how they handled the exorcism in the third act, I thought was really interesting, and it really made me think that maybe it's this one demon possessing both of these girls. At least that's what I was thinking when they released the first trailer for the movie. So I don't think that's a spoiler, because it sort of teases that in the trailers. So yeah, and I think also, in regards to things that I might not have liked in this new film, is that it does get a little bit sort of odd in the third act. That's all I'm gonna say in regards to that, but it just sort of went a little bit off the rails, so to speak, in the third act. But I understood what that meant within the plot and what was going on with the demon, so I did understand it, but it just veered off a little bit strangely in a way. That's all I'm gonna say about that. And then also, it doesn't, like, this movie doesn't have near the same kind of atmosphere as the original film did. I think it had a decent atmosphere in the setting. Don't get me wrong, but it just doesn't have that same kind of atmosphere that with the with how that original film felt. It just didn't have that, if you ask me. That's the only other thing that I can think of. But other than that, this was a really solid film. It focused a lot more on also within the religious community of how everyone should be working together. And there was this really important theming within the film of everyone working together to get through hardships, and also making choices and trying to make choices to have hope and things like that. And there was some really good theming there within the story, which I really liked. And I think overall it was a very solid film. I mean, I don't think it's better than the original, but it's one of the better Exorcist films in this franchise, next to the original and Exorcist 3. And yeah, I thought it was really solid. If I had to give this movie a grade, I'd probably give it maybe a B plus. That's my grade for it. I don't think it's an A grade horror flick, but it's still a really solid film, and I really enjoyed it. So yeah, that is my review. I'm so glad I finally got to see this movie. And there is one other character that does appear at the very end. I wasn't sure if this character was going to appear or not, but they did, and I was really satisfied with it, and made me think that this character will have a bigger role in the sequels to come, because this is the first film in a trilogy. And also, what I liked about this film is that they don't end the movie with the protagonists winning. They actually sort of end it in a way that the bad guys win, which I thought was really fascinating, because with what the demon was doing, and the demon succeeded in what it was trying to do. And I thought that was quite the dark ending for a movie that's the start of a trilogy, essentially. It did what Empire Strikes Back and other movies like that do, ending it in a way that the bad guys win. And it's really fascinating that they did that, because this is the first film in a trilogy, so it'll be interesting to see how that carries over into the next two sequels. And yeah, I thought that made it for a really fascinating story from beginning to end, with the two girls being friends also. And near the beginning of the film, they were friends, Catherine and Angela, and they explored going into the woods, and that just led down to them getting possessed. And that's all I'm gonna say about that. But yes, very decent film, not nearly as bad as the critics say it is. It's a B plus for me. And yeah, that should do it. All right, guys, thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you next time.